Welcome to Domestic Elements. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. Being resourceful is an element or aspect that helps me a lot in my everyday life. I found shopping at Dollar Tree to be a great resource for me. In this video, I'm specifically going to show what books I've been able to get from there, along with the original listed prices of them. Later in the video, I'm going to tell you the strategy I've used to find these books in hopes of it being helpful to you. Before I begin, I want to make clear that this is not a haul I've bought all at one time, but this is a collection of books that I have found at Dollar Tree over the last 2 to 3 years. I've been able to find books from various categories. I've divided them up as follows: domestic reference, fiction, journal or workbooks, craft books, nonfiction, and cookbooks. I'm going to include timestamps if you want to navigate to something in particular. I have many domestic reference books in my home. I've been able to score some really nice ones from the Dollar Tree from time to time. I do consider cookbooks as domestic reference books, but I've decided to put them in a category of their own. Here are the non-cooking domestic reference books of my DT collection. Now moving on to fiction. The reason I pick up a fiction book varies. I'll share with you some of those reasons in my strategy at the end of the video. I also want to state that usually with my fiction books, I get rid of them once I'm done reading them. I do this because I'm usually not one to read a fiction book twice. I don't even have some of my favorite books on my bookshelf. I just choose to remember them via journal entry or in my head. For me, this is being intentional with the space on my bookshelf. So let's get into the fiction part of my current collection. The next category is journals or workbooks. I haven't seen many books that fit this category. I recently found one called Inner Ramblings. There is no author stated, but it was published by the company Clarkson Potter. It was originally $12.99 US and is labeled as self-help and creativity. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Wreck This Journal. I bought two just in case I want to give one as a gift. Now for the craft books. I consider craft books to also be a type of domestic reference book. They can provide guidance or inspiration. Here's a visual view of my DT craft book collection. Now, moving on to nonfiction. I generally treat nonfiction like I do fiction in the way of getting rid of the book once I finish reading it. There are some exceptions though, like if I consider a book to be a reference, but the ones I'm about to show you do not fit that category. The last category is cookbooks. Cookbooks are a genre of books that I've had the most success with finding at DT. I've been able to find various cookbooks that are health focused, and those are the ones that I generally get, but I don't limit myself to only those. Now for the visual showing. The last book in this category is Mary Bell's Complete Dehydrator Cookbook. This was originally $22.99 US. I had to give this book a special voiceover. I was so excited when I found this book because I am starting to learn how to dehydrate food. So this was a great find. It was actually a very unusual find because this book was originally published in 1994. I can't wait to find a recipe to follow from this cookbook. That sums up my collection. Now time to share with you my strategy and tips for finding books at the Dollar Tree. It's kind of multifaceted and not all that unique, to tell you the truth. The first tip is go to several locations. I'm able to do this because there are about 6 Dollar Trees at a reasonable distance of no more than 20 minutes away. I don't go to all the locations in one day, but I do regularly make my rounds to all of them. If I'm going grocery shopping, I usually stop by Dollar Tree before for other items I regularly stock up on. 9 times out of 10, I'm scanning the book section. Finding books at Dollar Tree can be very hit or miss. Once I'm at a location, most of the time, their book section is a little bit unorganized, so I really take my time and investigate what's there. Sometimes I have to thoroughly look at the top shelf. That's how I found that book on dehydrating, and I'm happy that I did. I also look behind other books because good titles can be hiding. I usually check a couple things pertaining to the book I'm considering buying. Let's use this book for example. I open it up and see if I like how it starts. I might check the rating and some reviews on Goodreads or Google, and this helps me get a basic preview of how it's going to be and how it was generally received. Another thing I do is check to see if the book is available as an audiobook from the various apps I use through my library. The apps that I use are Libby and Hoopla. I usually still get a book if it doesn't have an audiobook available on these platforms. The reason I check for this is because audiobooks are at the moment my preferred way of reading because I'm able to listen to them while I'm doing other things. I found out this title was the first in a 3-book series. My last tip is to check often. This kind of goes along with the first tip. It's very beneficial to check often because of the nature in which Dollar Tree gets its books. There are always new arrivals and you never know what's going to be there. Here are some books that I found after beginning the editing process of this video. Sometimes I start a book and realize that it's not really my cup of tea and I decide not to finish it. That happens the most in fiction. That might easily happen to some of these books, only time will tell. If that happens, no love lost because it was only $1. That concludes this video. If you made it this far, thank you. And please show me some love in the comment section and leave a book emoji. More videos are on the way. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember to be intentional, resourceful, and creative.